Kovalev actually a tougher challenge, being 15 pounds heavier and having underrated athleticism?
I think so. No question about it. Moving up that weight is never an easy thing to do. He's bigger, he's stronger, and in my opinion, he's a better fighter. And I think that if you look at the resume, not the height, but the resume, there's no comparison between Kovalev's resume and
Gennady Goffin says that no one wants to fight him, that everyone's ducking him, but you went on ESPN, I saw it. You went on ESPN, called him out, you've said everything. He said he'd go to 68 for other guys like Chavez and Frach, and then when you come up, he can't go to 68. Like, that seems to me like someone who's ducking somebody.
I mean, it's just, I understand. It's disappointing, from my standpoint, because that would have been a great fight for the boxing fans. It would have been a great fight, and that's a fight that I wanted. I mean, I can show you literally.
It's fine.
I can show you literally right now. I'm not going to show you, but I can show you an email right now with his promoter before his fight. We didn't even know about this fight that was coming up, his last fight. We heard something about it, but I didn't know it was a paper. I didn't know anything about the detail. We sent him an official offer detailing the split, the weight class, promotional billing, everything. And they turned it down in less than 5 minutes. He said maybe 2017. Wow. And if anybody knows me, I don't lie. Like, I don't have to lie about these things. That's the reality of it. I just feel bad for the fans because they don't know. They're confused. Like, well, you said you wanted to fight him, and he said you're ducking him, but at the end of the day, they lose out.
Why, the question for me, and maybe for you as well, is why can't he just say that, hey, maybe it's bad style for us, we don't want to fight him, instead of making up all what seems to be excuses?
Well, that's a good question. It's just, trainer likes to talk a lot. His promoter likes to talk a lot. That's a good question for them to answer.
I asked them. They kept saying stuff like, Andre no one knows him, or he doesn't make enough money, and we're not gonna do 50-50 with him. And then if he was bigger, we would do 68. And I didn't really buy on it.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, I don't want to get into the particulars. I mean, Dan Raphael does a great job of reporting the purses that the fighters made. I think you guys just got to go back on this Twitter feed and just look at the purses over the last 2 years. And I've only fought twice in the last 2 years, and I think that speaks for itself. I'll just leave it there.
Did Golovkin show you anything new against Lemieux? Because a lot of people were impressed with the left.
I honestly didn't watch it.
To piggyback on Mike's question, why do you think so much focus is placed upon your personality or lack thereof, as people say, instead of your prowess in the ring, which is what it should be based on in the first place?
Dude, that's a great question. I think, we could have kind of another superficial, time together. We just talk about just superficial stuff, and we can talk real. I mean, if you guys want to talk real, we can talk. That's a good question. I don't talk a lot about myself, but I feel like I'm a great representative of the sport. I think that, I can talk pretty well. I don't think I'm an ugly guy. My wife's right there, she may attest to that. And I think, honestly, some of the stuff that you read, I think a lot of it is personal. And I think the individuals that write it, I think you have to ask them, why they write what they write. And you guys know, like I know, that boxing is a small incestuous business. It's small. It's not a major network, so it's kind of the same regurgitated story that's being written. If you ask me. Now, I'm not a fighter who says that all critics are bad. I need critique sometimes. My wife critiques me. I got people in my life that critique me, my trainer. If you guys call me out on something, a performance, and it's warranted, then hey man, I gotta live with that. And I gotta get better. But if the source of the critique is always a negative person who never has anything positive to say, and if that person is always got something bad to say about Andre Ward or this particular fighter or this particular style of fighter, then I'm probably a little less apt to receive that advice. And that's just me. And then when I speak out about these things like this, as respectfully as I can, but passionate because I care about this sport. I've dedicated over half my life to this sport. I have given up a childhood for this sport, and I feed my family by this sport. And I literally put my life on the line. When I get in the ring, I know that sounds cliche, but like, we do that when we spar 3 days a week. I feel like I have the right to talk about these things, right? So when I speak about it, they say, oh, Ward's arrogant, he needs to stop talking. But when you don't speak, then they make it seem like you're aloof and you have no personality and you have nothing to say. So sometimes what I do is I just fall back and I won't say anything because I want to make sure that when I speak, I say the right thing. And it's not always easy because, and I think sometimes that, I think my critics sometimes misread my silence as if I don't have anything to say, or as if, well, he can't come back on that because these are facts. If they only knew. I got a lot to say. But again, I'm not representing myself in this sport. I'm representing God, I'm representing my family, I'm representing my team. I gotta make sure that I say things the right way when I do speak. But a lot of those things are personal. And I think personal beefs or personal vendettas, they have no place in the sport. If a particular writer, and I'm not singling anybody out, because there's a lot of tremendous writers in this sport and people who are objective, that call it like they see it. If there's a personal problem, a great broadcaster, a great commentator, a great writer, you should never know about it. Because my job is to give you the facts, not my personal opinion. But in boxing today, you have a lot of writers who don't want to cover the story. They want to become the story. And I don't think there's any place for that in sport. So you watch some of the feedback that comes off of this. Oh, but that's fine, because at some point in time, I'm going to speak up and refute some of the things that are written out there. And honestly, I don't read it, but I get the overflow. I got family, I got friends, I got people who read this stuff and they're like, Dre, say something. I'm like, man, I'm gonna wait for the right time. I don't read it. And unfortunately, because a lot of that stuff happens, not just to me, it's not just an Andre Ward issue, but a lot of people, I don't watch a lot of boxing like I used to. And I love boxing. I read everything but boxing websites now. And there's no disrespect. But I'm not gonna read stuff when the main guy who has carried our sport for I don't know how many years, Floyd Mayweather, can't get his just due. And this is an individual, this is no rant, this is my heart. I'm just telling you, I just asked y'all if y'all want to have a real conversation or just something superficial, and we're 2 or 3 and we get out of here. I'm trying to give you guys me. Okay, personal life aside, you can compartmentalize it. But in the ring, it's a bad man.
That's right.
It's a bad man. I call Floyd my legend. Because that's the individual in my era that I grew up watching, that I grew up idolizing, that I stole things from. My jab to the stomach comes from Floyd. When I fought Carl Froch, and I knew that it was going to be a boisterous UK crowd in Atlantic City, I watched the Ricky Hatton fight 100 times. How did Floyd deal with this kind of pressure? How did he deal with this? I talked to Floyd recently. I'm not going to tell you guys what we talked about, but Floyd is available, and he's open to talk to the young guys that are in the sport. Personal life aside, everybody has varying and different opinions on that, but I'm talking about in the ring, we don't even respect this guy. He is a legend. We say things like he runs and he's not exciting and he's this and that. Floyd Mayweather has fought everybody who wanted him to fight. Everybody. Floyd has been cut in fights. Floyd has been wobbled and hurt badly in fights. Floyd has had injuries in the ring and battled back. But that's not respected. And people don't want to admit it, but we're going to miss him. This is a tremendous fight this weekend. 2 great warriors and two great champions, but somehow, some way, Floyd's name keeps coming up. We're going to miss him. And it's sad. I'm not coming down on you guys. man, if the shoe fits, wear it. But I'm just saying in general, it's sad, man, and it hurts me that this guy, like I know what it feels like to get buzzed in sparring. I know, no disrespect, but a lot of media is not there for that stuff. Nobody's behind the scenes, and to your credit, you guys aren't privy to that stuff, but when I gotta make a tough decision about my knee, I know what they're going, right? Oh, here he goes again. But I'm on the phone with my wife, like, man, what should we do? Like, man, I can get in there at like 75% and go get this check and try to please everybody. Been in camp 6 weeks, spending money on 4 sparring partners, a cook, massage therapist, acupuncture, all this stuff. Do I just waste that? We got to make a tough decision. So people aren't around for that stuff. So I have backed up a lot from the personal side of boxing, and I cover it when I'm fortunate enough to broadcast, and obviously when I have a fight coming up. But it's not a good look for our sport. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let y'all continue to ask questions. I'm a casual UFC fan, but when I tune into UFC fights, you never hear them bashing their fighters. The guy can have 5 losses, and they'll say something like, his stand-up game isn't that good, but watch this guy on the ground. So as a casual, I'm like, man, okay, let me stay in tune. But if you tune into a fight, like, oh, this guy's horrible. Why would I? I'm not gonna stay around and watch it. If you guys don't even like it, I'm not gonna. So, back to your question about me, some of that stuff is personal. Some of that stuff is personal. Because when you ask them, and I've had good conversations with guys one-on-one and say, man, what's the problem? They can't answer me. I've had guys say things like, well, I just want you to move up in weight. Like, what part of the game is that? Like, I was like, man, I understand that, but like, we'll move up when we think we're ready. But you know why they want me to move up? Because first it was, he's got an amateur style. Then it was, there's no way he'll beat this guy. No, amateur style, he can't take a punch. There's no way he'll beat this guy. And then somehow, some way, we kept winning. And then now, his style is born. And then when that thing worked, then it's like, well, you know, well, he showed us against Dawson, and he could. Well, now it's I don't. Nobody wants to see me fight. Nobody, you know. I didn't like the color of his trunks. You know, I didn't like the music. I mean, it's just starting to get ridiculous. But instead of me falling back as much as I have, I'm going to speak more because not for my sake. I'm not trying to defend myself because I'm secure in who I am. I really am. And boxing is what I do. It's not who I am. It's a part of my life, but it doesn't like define me. But my fans and my supporters and my loved ones, they deserve to hear some pushback sometimes, and that's basically what this is.
Well, you know, I think everyone here wants to see you back in the ring. And how tough has it been for you to, you know,
I'm listening to you. I just want to pull something up.
To be inactive for the last 2 years?
I think it's been tremendously tough. Tremendously tough because I think one thing we all got to keep in mind is nobody at the table, no network, nobody's more invested in my career. It's just not possible. That's like me saying, you know, that I care more about your family than you do. It just doesn't make sense. So again, you look at the situation like with the lawsuit. I don't want to go too deep into that because, man, God rest Dan Bruce's soul. I hate that happened. You know, that tore me up that we weren't on the same page when that, you know, when that happened. And I wish his family nothing but the best. But that was a very tough situation, and I stood for something that I believe in.
Is it tough? Oh yeah, sure.
I stood for something that I believed in. And I had nights where I shed tears over the situation. I had guys writing things. That's when I was reading articles back then, a couple years ago. Like, boy would rather fight in the courtroom than fight in the ring, like, but never called us and got outside of the stage. You know, I can remember after a Floyd Mayweather fight, and this is when it really hit home to me. I had about 5 or 6 media members, and me and my team thought that would be a good opportunity to kind of break down like some of the details of what was going on. Why are you guys fighting? And I gave it everything I had, put it all on the table. And I literally had pretty much all those guys, I sat there for like 30 minutes and like broke down everything. Fight Hype got it on tape. And the guys looked at me and said, I still don't get it. When are you fighting? And I was like, I don't know any other way to detail what that let me know. Like, I'm dealing with something a little different. Like, I don't think that certain individuals are trying to understand. And I just think it's sad because, again, I pat myself on the back every time I'm a great representative. Absolutely not. But I care about the sport. I'm cognizant of what I'm wearing when I come to the fight. I'm cognizant of the way I speak. I'm not trying to be fake, but I want to represent myself the right way. And it's just not enough. My thing is look, I'm not for sale. I'm not going to be who you want me to be. I'm not going to be a jerk. I'm not going to mistreat anybody. That's wrong. But I'm going to be myself. I'm talking about my faith from time to time. Because that's just part of life. I'm going to talk about certain things sometimes. But if I'm not enough, then I don't know what to say. I mean, on the lawsuit thing, what's the last name? This is save this. This is dated October 1st. It's a retirement speech. I wrote this in tears. I'm not trying to be dramatic about it, but this was like days away from being sent out, and my wife and Julie said, "Don't do it." Like, this was serious. But it's like I'm villainized over it, as if I don't want to fight. I would rather spend money on lawyers and not be a part of the sport that I love. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So when I speak out like this, it's spun a certain way. If I'm quiet, it's spun a certain way. So I think the answer is just do what you feel led to do. So.
You know, he was talking about how Floyd doesn't get any respect, and I agree. You don't. Could it be said that Rigondeaux, who's replacing you on the card, is another guy that hasn't gotten respect?
I think that's accurate. I think it's a shame. I mean, I know his style is, he moves a lot more than I do, but he looks good when he does it. That's just my opinion. I mean, he's a two-time gold medalist. And I mean, I get it, but I don't really get it. I mean, I think that if it's about boxing and not about individuals, I think that we can find a way to praise a guy like that. And say, man, look at this guy. He came here with nothing. Look what he's doing. And I think Al Bernstein, amongst other guys, Lamp and Kelly, they do a great job, but Bernstein has been a tremendous asset to my broadcasting career. Again, as well as those guys, they helped me out a lot. But he started way back then. And I think one thing he really does well is he'll call a guy out, but he'll always have a positive spin about it. This guy needs to step it up if he wants to win this. But he'll leave a positive spin where it's not just, he's horrible, why is he in the ring? And I think it's that kind of balance where we call guys out, we talk about things. You guys don't have to always speak well about me. I'm not perfect. Hey, I may stink it out. If I stink the joint out one night, call me on it. I gotta eat that. But if it's always bad, then you got to say, man, is that warranted? I mean, I'm dealing with the same stuff Floyd deals with. You go back and do the research, I'm dealing with the same stuff Roy Jones dealt with. Wasn't appreciated. And it was always, why don't you fight Mekashevsky in Germany? Why do I got to go to Germany? I'm the man. We built up John Ruiz, and then when Roy made it look easy, this guy was nothing. Well, he handpicked him. It's the same type of thing. I've studied this sport since I've been a baby. And it's the same parallels. The whys, that's up for discussion. I don't know.
So what's the happy medium then? In one breath, a certain style is boring, but then you have a combative.
But I mean, no disrespect, but define that for me.
Well, in the terms that if they say, for example, your style is boring, but then you have two warriors slug it out, and one of them has a real debilitating injury.
Again, no disrespect, but are they more warriors because they fought a certain way?
How they're categorized, just because of the style of the fight. And then after the conclusion of the fight, the fighter suffers a debilitating injury, then everyone says we need to reform the sport. So what's the happy medium between,
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I'm not challenging the back. I'm just trying to, I think it's good dialogue. And I think that I think boxing has always been what it's been. I think the era has changed. I really do. I think the era has changed, and I think that, I've seen fights with Salvador Sanchez, who we say is a great fighter, not throw a punch for a whole round, trying to find distance and trying to find range. Pernell Whitaker, he got some of these same critiques, but now we look back and say Sweet Pea was a legend. I feel like if you're an authentic boxing fan, I think you love it all. I a quote-unquote purist. I love a guy who has to get it a certain way. Like, man, he doesn't have the skill to do that, but this dude put it on the line, man, and I respect it. I think you gotta love it all. And I think that the media, because you guys are conduits to the fans, I think that's a lot of it. I mean, the fighters are gonna do what we've always done. We're gonna fight. We're gonna have different styles, we got different backgrounds, we got different temperaments. But I think if you really, like, speaking about me, I think if you really watch my fights, I'm shy away from contact. I'm not gonna give you a freebie. I'm not gonna just let you hit me. I wasn't trained like that. But I take enough punishment just in general being a fighter. And I don't think that me or any other fighter has to apologize for that. Fighters are going to continue to do what we've always done. How are we reporting what they do? Because if we're honest, the battle is over the casuals. It's not over the diehards, because the diehards are going to be there. When we're promoting this event, it's over the casuals. And if the media doesn't feed it a certain way, they're not going to tune in. If you say this guy's boring, they're going to take your word for it. Or if you say, look, this guy's a master. And some people, you know, they get it like, this guy, man, he can make you miss and hit you 5 times. Tune into this. I think that's a lot of it.
Was signing with Rock Nation an attempt of reaching those casual fans?
I think it was just, of course, you know, the marketing side and stuff like that was part of it, but it was more just the nuts and bolts of you know, the boxing career, the numbers and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it wasn't, the way that I look at the way that I've been portrayed over the past couple of years, I don't look at it as something that's insurmountable. I look at it as something that is something I have to overcome. Because when I run into people on the streets, some people get it, and some people you can tell they've been influenced by it. But after they spent some time with me, it's like, dude, you're pretty cool. And I know why they're saying that, because they thought I wasn't cool when they first met me. Like, I've read things or heard things where people say that I'm arrogant. If anybody knows me, I may be a lot of things, but arrogant isn't one of them. You know, I've accomplished a little bit in this sport. And I think by now you would have seen an arrogant guy who's a gold medalist, a 2-time world champion, an undefeated fighter. Like, you would see arrogance, but if you categorize me standing up for myself and speaking the truth as arrogant, then I can wear that.
When is the point in your life where your faith as a Christian?
Say it again?
Your faith as a Christian, as a person, at what point?
At what point?
Yeah.
A long time ago, probably maybe more than 10 years ago. If I didn't have a relationship with Jesus, I wouldn't be here. Simple as that. I would be another statistic out there who didn't make it. I would have been that guy on the side of the road that people said he had time, he could have made it. Man, that guy was good. And, you know, when I gave my life to God, I was probably rededicated my life and became serious was probably about 18 years old, maybe 19 years old. My father had died abruptly when I was 18 years old of a heart attack. He was my mother and my father. He raised me as a single parent. And I went to a dark place after that for a couple of years. Didn't want to box, didn't care about boxing, didn't care about the Olympics. And I thank God for Verge, man, because, you know, it's to say things in anger, like, man, I don't care about the Olympics. I said, look, son, if you let this pass you by, and you see guys that you could have beat and should have been fighting, win that gold medal, you can't get that back. You'll never